I was born 87 years ago. For 65 years, I've ruled as Tamriel's emperor. But for all these years...
Hello, I am Litchbane, and welcome to the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remastered. Starting up the game, we are greeted by an opening cinematic setting the scene of our arrival into Cyrodiil. The Emperor Uriel Septim VII, the 21st Emperor of Tamriel, is having dreams of an impending crisis that comes with it his own death. It is the 27th of last seed in the year of Akatosh 433, and we join this world in the closing days of the Third Era and in the final hours of Uriel's life.
And the final hours of my life.
We, eventually a Dark Elf Nightblade from the island of Ardenfell, start our journey in the dungeons of the Imperial City, not remembering who we are and having committed a crime we cannot recall. Just as a Dunmer from across the hall threatens and insults us, 3 soldiers appear alongside the Emperor. These soldiers are of course the Blades, the Emperor's sworn protectors.
What's this prisoner doing here? This cell is supposed to be off limits.
Just as Uriel realizes that his children have been slain, they close in on our cell, which was evidently supposed to be empty in case of an emergency such as this one. We are told to stand against the far wall as they enter.
Stay put, prisoner. You. I've seen you.
The Emperor recognizes us as someone from his dreams. With our recognition comes the realization that today is the day he dies. We are understandably confused and ask the Emperor what's going on. He explains that his sons were attacked by assassins and that he is next. He also tells us that the Blades are escorting him out of the city along the secret escape route that by fate goes through our cell. We ask what we should do now, but he says we will find our own path before leaving. I didn't plan on staying in jail any longer, so I followed the group through the strange catacombs. As I followed them, 4 assassins clad in conjured armor came out from the shadows trying to kill the Emperor. In the struggle, Captain Reynault died, leaving us with some weapons and a torch to defend ourselves with. We grabbed her swords as well as potions and a hood from the slain assassins. The Blades regrouped and assured the Emperor that they would get him out of there. Now cautious, they continued on. They noticed that I followed them and warned me not to follow any further. We stayed back and followed their wishes, of course, but just as they left, 2 giant rats smashed through the wall next to us, revealing a hidden passage in the catacombs. We took care of the rats and continued on. Entering the tunnels, we had to deal with another rat, but we were able to find armor, more weapons, and some lockpicks. We updated our gear, searched the room some more, then continued on. Before leaving through a wooden door, we found a dead goblin shaman who had some scrolls and a key on them. Luckily, the key opened the wooden door, and we were able to leave, entering the Imperial substructure. When we entered the substructure, we immediately took care of a rat with our destruction magic before continuing our search. We found some nice iron armor, but opted for keeping our leather instead to stay quicker and more agile. Leaving the introductory chamber, we came across some fleeing rats, and as we tried to take them out, we came across a zombie who we set on fire before putting down. We took the zombie's flesh, as well as the rat meat, as we can probably make some potions or poisons with those later on. This trend of clearing out rats and picking rooms clean continued until we came across a large open room with an assortment of loot in the center. None of the loot interested me, so we left the room having only taken goods from a locked chest along the wall and having destroyed some of the rats within. Leaving the large room, we followed the tunnels until we came across a barrel with 4 bottles of ale in it. Having been through a pretty stressful start to our day, we took the bottles and drank them all immediately. The tunnels continued for some time, but during that time we were able to pick up plenty of alchemy supplies found lying around. like bullets and wisp stalks. We then went through a second door that led to natural caverns, where we came across our first living goblin. We threw fireballs at him without hesitation, then stole more alchemy supplies from the surrounding area. This is where we eventually found our first novice mortar and pestle, allowing us to finally use the supplies we started collecting. We then took out a goblin skirmisher with his own trap before doing the same thing to 2 more unlucky goblins. The end of the natural tunnels led to a large open room full of rats, goblins, and some small decorations made by the goblins presumably. Using our magic, we killed a couple of goblins before releasing a pack of rats to fight the goblin witch. The witch dropped some precious gemstones as well as a magical staff. We took the staff, looked through the rest of the room for anything useful to us, added some of our abilities to shortcuts, then left the chamber to make our way to the Imperial subterrane. Through the subterrane, we found a hole in the masonry leading us to the Emperor and his blades once again. We arrived just in time to help fend off another assassin ambush, not that the blades needed our help, and they made that very clear by killing my ancestor guardian that so faithfully helped us during the attack. Before the blades were able to kill me too, the Emperor said that I could help them. He has single-handedly up to this point kept me alive by having blind faith in me due to his premonitions. The Emperor has a connection with the divine, and he wanted to know if we had a connection too. He also wanted to know under what sign we were born. Wanting to have a mix of assassin and magic gameplay on this character, I chose to be born under the sign of the thief, granting us increased points in agility, luck, and speed. At this point in the opening, Uriel's septum has come to terms with his death and welcomes the shrill music that calls to him. He says the thief sign shall guide our path forward past this point. Boris is finally okay with the idea of us following them and tells us to stay close. We were able to stop a 3rd and 4th assassination attempt before heading into the Sanctum. The Sanctum, being a large open room, made us uneasy as another attack would surely begin soon. The trap showed itself as the gate we were to leave out of was locked, and we found ourselves trapped in the room. We did manage, however, to find a side passage where I was supposed to keep my eye on the Emperor while the remaining blades cleared the assassins in the other room. I think I started out doing a pretty good job. It was pretty uneventful at first, and the Emperor then turned to me and said that this was as far as he can go, and that it is now up to me to stop the Prince of Destruction and his mortal servants. He gave me the Amulet of Kings and tasked me with bringing it to Joffrey at Wayne Priory. Then he said his iconic line,
Find him and close shut the jaws of oblivion.
With the start of a scripted cutscene where I was frozen, an assassin came out of the wall and stabbed the Emperor multiple times, killing him. By this time, the blades had re-entered the room and helped me take out this final assassin. We then mourned the Emperor Uriel Septim VII's death, after which Boris shared some words with me. He said the Emperor saw something in me and trusted me. He then shared that the Amulet of Kings was a genuine magical artifact, unlike the crown he wore, and that if in the wrong hands, it could open oblivion into our world. He gave me the directions to find Joffrey, then watched my back as I left out of the sewers. Before leaving the room, we chose our class, and wanting a mix of stealth and magic like I mentioned earlier, we chose the Nightblade class. I did add some minor changes to the major skills, just to better encapsulate what abilities I planned on using. Using Boris's key, we opened a side door and made our way to the Imperial City sewers. The sewers were pretty small, and there was only a couple of enemies standing between us and freedom. We looked thoroughly through the area to make sure we killed all enemies and picked up all useful loot. Once our search was complete, we found the exit to the sewers and confirmed our character choices, and entered Cyrodiil as Litchbane, the Dark Elf Nightblade. The scenery outside was absolutely gorgeous. The remaster looks amazing. The sun just peeking out over the mountaintops. We took a quick look around and tried making some poisons, and that's when I realized that this great weather wasn't going to last very long. The sky quickly grew dark and a storm erupted around us. With the change in weather and craving adventure in this open world, I quickly jumped into the river and swam across to Vilverin, an Aelid ruin. There were some bandits outside which were good test subjects for the new poison that I just made and my destruction magic. I took one last quick look around the outside of the dungeon, then sat around the fire to take a small break before heading into Vilverin, our first dungeon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time where we finish the Vilverin dungeon and head to Wayne Priory to finally deliver the Amulet of Kings. Have a good one.